everybody, it is NinjaDrawsArt back again for another video. In this week's video, I'm going to be drawing Lan Zhan from Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, also known as Mo Dao Zu Shi, by MXTX. So, Lan Zhan is one of my favorite characters from Mo Dao Zu Shi. He is one of the more quiet, stoic types, and he is a stickler for rules, and I feel like I kind of relate to him in that I follow the rules, and I just follow the rules. Anyways, so I am doing a little bit differently this time. I'm having what is my reference picture, and then I'm doing the screen recording on the iPad. I will change it up a couple different views, so this way you kind of see my process, how I work on my sketch, zoom in certain areas and then zoom back out, then also zoom into my reference to get the specific area that I may be having trouble with. The hands were definitely the toughest part of this drawing, but so it felt very accomplishment when I finally got the hands to look the way I wanted them to look. They could probably still use a little bit of improvement, but it definitely looks like he's holding the bunny, which is supposed to represent Wei Wuxian. And I do really love the relationship Wei Wuxian has with Lan Zhan and the slow burn relationship between those two characters. For those of you that don't know anything about Mo Dao Zu Shi, I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek on the back. I'm also going to do a little bit of a mini review on the book as well as the animation, because I had to consume this story in all the forms that there are available after reading the first volume. So here is a little blurb from the back of the book. Resurrection and Revenge. Wei Wuxian was one of the most outstanding men of his generation, a talented and clever young cultivator who harnessed martial arts, knowledge, and spirituality into powerful abilities. But when the horrors of war led him to seek a new power through demonic cultivation, the world's respect for his skills turned to fear, and his eventual death was celebrated throughout the land. Years later, he awakens in the body of an aggrieved young man who sacrifices his soul so that Wei Wuxian can exact revenge on his behalf. Though granted a second life, Wei Wuxian is not free from his first, nor the mysteries that appear before him now. Yet, this time, he'll face it all with the righteous and esteemed Lan Zhan at his side, another powerful cultivator whose unwavering dedication and shared memories of their past will help shine a light on the dark truths that surround them. Like I mentioned, there is a live action series in addition to the book. The book was based on, the live action series was based on the book, and the live action drama is called The Untamed. The animated show is based off of the book and is called by the same name, Mo Dao Zu Shi. I watched it on YouTube, and then I paid for the membership in order to watch all the episodes. So I really enjoyed the story, as I've mentioned before. But now we're going to talk a little bit about my drawing process here. As you can see now, I am going in coloring the eyes, one of my favorite things to do when drawing anything, especially if the thing I'm drawing has eyes. So I had to kind of mess around with the colors to choose the right one, because Lan Zhan's eyes are kind of like a hazel yellowish color, and it took me a little bit of time to figure that out. And now we're gonna go in filling in the different parts of the irises and then adding that little extra bit of shading and blending to make the eye pop out at you. And then of course the highlight. The highlight's definitely one of my favorite parts of doing the eye, just because it makes it feel more finalized. The hair was a little bit tricky. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, dark hair is hard to make pop appropriately, but I really do like Lan Zhan's hair. It was very cool, and to match this reference photo to make it feel as if the hair was flowing in the wind and then hanging delicately on his body. It was really cool. And I know there is a way to like fill those areas like really quickly with like the dropper tool, but since my lines aren't really outlined that well, it's hard for me to do that precisely, and then it will just fill the whole entire page with color, which is not what we want. So I was doing a combination of kind of filling one area, outlining that, and then filling that, and then so on and so forth. So now we're going to move on to my other view that I did. This is just a time-lapse view of me coloring the hair, because when I originally was doing the screen recording on this part, it kind of turned out a little bit odd. It was a lot of flashing and definitely not very attractive looking to look at, and you didn't really get to see my shading process, so I felt like the time-lapse function on Procreate was a better choice for this coloring section of my drawing. And I really love the bunny. Bunny Wei Wuxian is so cute, and Lan Zhan loves rabbits, so gotta include the bunny. Now we are moving on to my cleanup part. For this one, you saw that I did the rough sketch, I did a cleanup sketch, and now I'm moving on to finalize my line work, which I use a different brush on here in order to do those lines to make it feel more polished. And I thought it would be cool to also do a background for this one, since a lot of my drawings recently haven't had a background, so you'll see later on me creating that background. Now, for these lines, it was taking me a little bit of time to do them the way I really wanted them to do, so this is like the real-time process of me doing those lines and erasing the areas that I don't want anymore to make it feel more precise. Let me know if you have any tips about making those precise lines. For me, it just takes a little bit of patience. Also, let me know who your favorite character is in Mo Dao Zu Shi if you've read the series. If you haven't watched, read, any way that you can access this, definitely check it out. The live action is on Netflix. Again, it's called The Untamed. Also, the first book is out in English, so feel free to read that as well. Also, let me know if there's any characters in other series that you like that has that stoic nature, but still has a little bit of a cute side, and really adores the person that they love. So now I'm gonna go and move on to the background. In my reference photo, you noticed there was a cherry tree, so I wanted to incorporate that, though mine is more of a zoomed in version of the reference photo, because in the reference photo you could see his entire body. But I felt like I still wanted to include the cherry tree in my picture, so I went ahead and first slapped on a little branch, which you'll see a little bit later on. Right now I'm still adjusting the eyes to make them so that they turn out the way I wanted them to. And then I think I'm still finishing up some cleanup parts of like the headband and his cloak. It was really cool doing his outfit because it had a lot of folds, and it was a little bit tricky to figure out how to make that look realistic, like that was going over his shoulder and then still make sense with his arms kind of holding the little rabbit. And then I had to add a little bit more shading in the right spots to make that pop appropriately. So we're just adding those final touches on the hair, on his outfit, and I think we're getting closer to the point where I add the cherry tree. So I kind of did a little bit of a shortcut because I blurred out the tree, so it didn't have to necessarily look perfect cherry tree, nor did the flowers have to look perfect because they were just going to be blurred out, so they're definitely not accurate to what real cherry blossoms look like, but they do get the point across. I was having trouble with the eyebrows. I didn't feel like they looked quite right, and so this is one of the things with digital drawings that I have a tendency to see little things look off, and then I'll try to adjust it, and then I'll make it worse. And then I really wanted to try to incorporate like the cherry blossoms kind of falling around Lan Zhan and blurred it out, and I really think it turned out cute. So I hope you enjoyed this video of me drawing Lan Zhan. We'll see you in another video next time. NinjaDrawsArt out.